Hey everybody, just thought I'd stream a little bit. I worked really late yesterday, so I'm gonna take a little break in the middle of the day here and do some coding on my JavaScript interview challenge. And I'd already done one stream on this on Saturday, so now it's Tuesday, and I'm gonna stream a little bit more. I didn't really advertise this, so if you didn't catch this live, don't worry about it. This was kind of not really planned out beforehand, but in case you didn't see the other stream, I'll just describe briefly what I'm trying to do, and then I'll narrate a little bit. And if we get some people watching, maybe we'll answer questions in the live chat too. But right now, it looks like nobody's watching yet. So, oh hey, now we have a few people in here. So hey John, how's it going? Hey, I'm glad you got the notification. I thought the notification would go out, but I wasn't sure. So anyway, today we're going to work on this. I've gotten this to a point where, I have an interview coming up, and I'm trying to do this challenge. Right, I only have like 2 days left to do this before my interview. So the challenge is I have to come up with a program that will take a certain input, as in like how many rows and columns you want for seating, and then you can reserve seats. So you're supposed to be able to put in, say I want 5 seats, and then the program will return the seat numbers for 5 seats that are all right next to each other, that are the best 5 seats that you can get all next to each other. So I've gotten to a point where I don't know what I've done here, because I'm getting errors, and I'm considering just starting over again. So my original idea was just to do all this with arrays, and I don't think that's the best way to go. So since then I've thought, well, maybe I could use like objects, right? So I'll show you what's going on. So I'm making arrays within arrays, and you can see, okay, so this is basically the seating chart. So I'm making these arrays, and then when somebody reserves a seat, like here, a 1 appears. So 0s are empty seats, 1s are seats that actually have people in them. And that worked out. It was working all the way until I tried to get the number of seats like right in a row and return it. And then it started to get more complicated, and now I'm getting errors like memory leak detected things. It's kind of working. It's not all the way working, but I am getting a lot of the output that I expected. I mean, right now a lot of this stuff it's console logging for me to understand what's going on, so I would remove most of the console logs when I finished it. But so anyway, I'm thinking maybe all these arrays and looping over all these arrays is just too much. Maybe it's too much work for something that could be a lot more simple. So my idea is, okay, well, what if we just made an array of objects? So it would be more like, instead of all the 1s and 0s, you would have your array of objects. Let's call it seats. So your seats array is here, and then our objects are, I don't know, row 1, column 2, and I don't know, maybe we could have something for reserved, and then this would be true or false. So let's say it's just false right now, so no one's reserved that seat. And then we have to figure out how good of a seat it is. So I guess it could be like rank. I don't know what, for lack of a better thing, we would have a seat rank, and this would just be some number. So let's just say 3. So we already have, we've required this Manhattan kind of like distance formula thing, so we can use that to give the seats a rank, right? So I've thought, okay, maybe this would be better. I kind of prefer to work with objects anyway, and the only thing that I'm not sure about, that I haven't kind of thought through, is, okay, this is great and this has a lot of info that I need, but what about figuring out which seats are right next to each other? That's the trickiest part, and I think that's what's giving me, like, everything I was doing before with all these arrays worked until I got to that point. And in my thinking, everything's, I see, you know, I have an idea of how all this would work except for that. So that's kind of where I'm stuck at right now. And so I need to make a decision, I think, and I need to make it quickly. And it needs to be, you know, basically, do I keep trying to make this work, even though I'm at the point now where I can see that this seems inefficient, and it's starting to get really hard to think through what's going on because there's so many loops within loops happening here. So I think I'm close to a solution, but, you know, it's always hard to tell. You know, maybe I'm close, maybe I'm not, maybe I have something just fundamentally messed up about this. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. So if anybody, I know there's not a whole lot of people watching, if anybody's watching has any opinion on that, let me know. I'd love another opinion. I'd love to take that into account. Maybe I should put a link to this on Twitter. So I wasn't going to, but I would kind of like some advice on this. So maybe I'll put a little tweet out right now. So okay. Alright, so the tweet went out. So maybe a few more people get notifications and come in. Yeah. Alright, cool. Michael's here now. And I guess I could... I was thinking about where else I could do this. I guess I could say it on Instagram. I wonder if anybody's even... It might not even be worth it. I don't have as many followers on Instagram, so I think by the time people would see it, it might be too late. So I'm not going to bother with that. Also, I'll say, how's it going? So... For those of you who are just coming in, just basically quickly, I'll just say I'm at a point where I got to make a decision to get rid of what I've done so far, most of what I've done so far, or go with something new. I need to make a seating chart kind of manager, and I tell you what, how about this? Let's make a fork, or not a fork. Let's make a branch. We'll start doing some of the new stuff on this new branch, and just go down that road a little bit. And if it seems like it's going to work out and it's going to be a more simple solution, we'll go with it. If we start working and it's just getting really complicated, then maybe we'll come back and see if we can fix the errors, or what's going on now. Because I've just grown to not like how I did this. I originally just kind of started doing it and said, oh, I'm just going to mess around and see how far I get. And I started to get far, and I never went back and refactored anything. And now it's just kind of a mess. Alright, so let's remove this. So this was all just kind of an example. And let's go with get branch. Let's do this, get checkout. And then we're going to use the B tag, get checkout B, and we'll just call this alt for now. So this will be our alternate solution. Alright, so I guess what we can do for now is let's do this. Let's just leave this here for something to look at. And then we can maybe try to keep as much as possible of this. Although I really doubt there's going to be that much that we can keep. Seeds. Oh, also, I told you all yesterday that I would have a presentation this morning. I did have the presentation this morning. It went really well. We actually got applause. So it was me, my boss, and my boss's boss presenting to the president and all the vice presidents of the university, and then any other department heads that have other titles other than vice president. So they were all there, and got some really great compliments about the project. It seemed like, at least some of them were excited about this new site launching, and it was cool. I was really happy. My boss's boss was just like super happy, and so it was cool. It felt good. It felt good, and I want to thank. I know there's not all of you that are normally in the channel or here right now, but for those of you that are here, that have been involved in this process, thank you so much for all your help. The site would not be as good as it is, not by far, without you all. So even if you haven't, submitted code, just being here, being encouraging, asking questions, even if it's just like, hey, why'd you put that there? That we rethink that, right? So it refines everything when we have to rethink, like, well, why did we put that there? So anyway, I really, really appreciate it, and I know the people in my department appreciate it too, because I talk about you all when we have meetings, and I make sure that I don't take credit for all this. I give you all credit as well. All right. Rook says, by the way, site looks awesome. Yeah, let me put in, let me give you all the ngrok link, and then you can see the changes that I made. So I stayed really late yesterday to get in all the changes that my department head wanted. And so it is a little bit different. So you all can check that out at ngrok, and some of the changes will be obvious that what was done, but there were some really specific things. We had a meeting at the end of the day yesterday and went through, and I was actually coding as they were giving me like suggestions, like, can we do this? Let's see what this looks like. So I was just like live coding and showing them what things look like. But anyway, it was kind of cool, like having it on a project. So I had the site on a projector, and then I had my code up on my laptop. So it was like dual screens, and I would just code in what was happening, and sometimes I would just do DevTools, but then other times I would actually code it and save it, and they could immediately see the result. So that was kind of fun. I've never done it like that before, like in a meeting, but it was cool. All right, so enough about that. If you have any questions about that site or whatever, just let me know. I will answer them. But for now, I want to try to work on this a bit. So I guess let me just step through. I know I already have comments for some of this stuff, but I just want the comments straight through of what we need. So we need to create objects for each seat, and then we need to let's see, change. All right, when a request change reserve to true, or let user know that seat is taken. And then this is going to be the tricky part. When requested, we want to find the best contiguous. There's no way that's how you spell contiguous, is it? I don't think I have spell check on here. Contiguous set of seats. Reserve them. Okay, so this is like the very, very bare bones of what this project needs to do. And I could probably put little sub items underneath all of these. But this way, at least we can start with the first thing, break it up into chunks, and get something done. So let's go with oops. So let's see if we can create an object for the seats. And here's the other thing I was thinking. Right now I'm using this command line tool, so it just asks me questions right in the command line. But should I really be doing that? Why not make this like an API where we can like accept requests? It seems to me like that's more realistic, right? I mean, a command line tool is okay. Oh, Michael said, are you only allowing multiple seats on the same row? Yes. So they all have to be right there in the same row. They can't. It can't be like, seats on row 1 and 2. So let me see. There's actually a repo that I have from a project I did in my nano degree that we might be able to copy over a lot of what's in there and use it to help set up an API quickly and drop our code into there. And I think I would like that a lot better. Let me try to find that repo on my other screen here. Okay, so we have, I think what project it was. Was it readable? I think it was this. Okay. All right, let's see. Let me show you all what I'm talking about here potentially that we could use. Server.js. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking about using is something like this. So this was from a Udacity project. So basically we just use, skip through all this stuff. Basically we do a get request. So in this case it's for get categories, right? And then we do some stuff and we send either the data that is needed or an error. So it's kind of like we're doing a lot of this in some of our other projects already. We're just not usually, like we don't usually do anything with post requests. I mean, sometimes if we have forms and things coming in. We've never done anything with delete requests. And I don't think we do anything with delete requests in this case either. But maybe we could do something like that. Alright, which I haven't looked at the live chat for a while, so let me see. Alright, so Michael's saying, why don't you loop through the rows to find consecutive zeros to see if there's a match? So like that's basically that's what I'm doing right now. I just am getting like, so let me show you where I'm coming from. So once we get down to this function of finding seats, we pass in that array of seats and then the number of seats that we want. We do some checks, so like there's some parameters, like it can't be greater than 10 seats. We find what the optimum seat is. So the optimum seat is the middle seat of the front row, and that's how we determine what seat is how it's going to be scored. Then I'm looking to check, so I'm ruling out any requests that request more seats than we actually have in a row. So if we have rows of 5 seats, somebody requests 6 altogether, that's not going to work, so we just throw those out. And then we go to, skip to the next row if there are not enough available seats. Yeah, so here we check to see if there are enough available seats in each row. And then we start to come down here and actually look, and this is where we're checking to see if there are zeros. And if there are zeros, we increment our counter, and then if the count equals the number of seats, then we add to this array of seat combinations so that we can return the seat. Basically, we want to return to the user like R1 S2 or something, right? R1 C2. And so that's what's going on here. And then as I said, we have a lot of weirdness going on in here. So I'm just getting something's wrong in here, and it keeps essentially like prompting the user to enter more things in, but then it doesn't even give them a chance to enter anything in. It just keeps going and asking questions and outputting things. So this is, I've messed it up That's why I was thinking about going a different direction with it, because it's starting to get pretty difficult to reason about and change anything without breaking it. Alright, so I guess we can just look at this for a minute and see if anything obvious comes out. So I haven't looked at this for a couple of days. Maybe something will stand out to me that I couldn't find the last time. I could probably remove some console logs as well. Okay, so if I asked for 3 seats in a row, it's going through console. Okay, so it's console logging potential seat combinations here and here. So I guess we don't need that. So at least get rid of one of these console logs. Alright, let's just do const seats equals okay. Alright, so we removed a console log, and let's run this again. Maybe it'll be a little bit cleaner. Row 2 column. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to do a 5x5 seating chart. Next thing it asks me, what row is the seat in you'd like to reserve? What seat would you like to reserve in this row? Alright, 2. And then, so that's reserved. Now we should type in how many seats in a row we would like. So 3 seats. So what should have happened is that it should have reserved the 3 middle seats, like 3 seats right in the front row. But obviously that's not happening. So we're going through row 0, row 1, row 0, row 1. So it's not available. Let me try this again. I may have seen where we're having an issue with. So what seat would you like to reserve? Let's say row 4, seat 4. So that's our last seat. 2, 3, 4. And now we'll go with 3 seats. Okay, so before, basically what's happening is it's getting to the first point where it sees that a seat is taken, and then it's stopping, or at least it's getting close, and then that's when we have these weird things. So let's check out that point. So this is where it's supposed to stop. So this, we're getting that console log delete count. So after that, that's when all the weird stuff's happening. Let's verify in the last one that that's the same thing. Oops. Wow, how many times is it going through this? Wow. Okay, yeah, after delete count, that's when it's weird. Okay, so we may have some errors happening even before that point. Michael says, why did it update the array before you input the number of seats? So it asks a question at first of how, like, you want to reserve a single seat. And it really doesn't have to. I was just testing the function to reserve a single seat. Let's see. Michael's saying give them an option about their seats. Well, that's so basically the instructions for it are that it needs to automatically pick their seats for them and then just tell them what seats they have. Do you think my return null is messing things up? Should I return false? Let's see if that does anything. I'm not sure that I have another. Let's get rid of more of these console logs because they're just taking up a lot of space here. No, it's still the same thing. So this is interesting. It does look like it is reserving seats. So it's giving me the open seat count here as 16, but then down here it's saying it's 11. So how many seats did I request? I don't remember. 3. So we have 24 seats open. I've asked for 3 seats. Now we have 23 seats, 21 seats, 16, 11. Okay, I think it looks like the problem, so now there's 10 seats, 9, 8, 7, 6. Okay, I think the problem is I keep looping and I should stop. So I'm actually, it just keeps reserving 3 seats over and over again, or not even 3 over and over again. It just keeps reserving seats. Alright, so Michael says, okay, then why ask what row? Ask how many tickets. So here's the thing. A user needs to be able to either say exactly what seat and row they want for 1 ticket, or say I want 5 tickets. So it's I didn't make up the challenge, so that's why it has to be like that. Alright, so let's see why it keeps looping and keeps requesting seats. Alright, so this is the big outside function we're using. Okay, so this is a large function. So in here, okay, so I think we're inside this large for loop. So this loop is going through each row, so that everything in here is running for each row. Okay. So now this loop is running for each seat in each row. All right, so for this particular number of seats, so as it's looping through the seats, if it gets to the point where there's a row of seats that all work, that fit together, it adds that to the potential seat combinations array. And then down here, if that array is greater than 0 or equal to 0, we can't fulfill the request. Okay, so I believe the problem is that we are running this inside of our loop, and we should not. So let's move this. So these should not be inside of any loop. They keep getting run after each row, and that's not where they need to be run. If I could select these properly. Yeah, so they need to come outside of this row. Let's save it. Hopefully I didn't completely mess up the brackets here. Potential seat combinations is not defined, so let's make sure we define this up higher. And we're using count? No, we're not. Okay, so let's move this way up here to the top of this function, since we need access to that. So this should work now. Okay, let's oh, Michael says, oh, got it. Problems. What's problems 9 in? I don't know what that last one comment means, Michael. Let's see. All right, so let's save that. Let's get out of this and let's run through this again. All right, 5 seats, 5 seats. I do need to change this so it doesn't ask me this thing every single time about the rows and the seats. And let's say we want 3. Okay, well we've definitely solved the problem of getting a ton of stuff happening here. Your problem's pane in the terminal. Oh, okay. Where? Let's see. We need to return that array at some point so I can see if this is actually reserved the right set of seats. So let's see. And really, should delete count? I don't know, the delete count should be the last thing that we see. I mean, should we really be returning anything? No, not really. We don't need to return anything. We just need to reset the count. And then we want to keep going. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So we don't need to return anything from there. And then when we get down to this, we're mapping over everything. We're reserving our seats. And then I guess once we get to the end of this function, then we can console log array. Is this what we're calling this? I guess we're passing it in as array. Do we keep array? Yeah, I suppose that would, for reserve seat, are we updating the array? All right, well, we'll see what we get from that console log. Okay, let's see. You cannot read property map of undefined. Actually, we're kind of making progress here. Maybe this will work. I still think it's super ugly code though. Alright, so let's see. Is this for our map? Potential seat combinations, index of math. Is that... Maybe we can't put all of this stuff together. So let's break this out a bit, and let's say, whoops. Const, I'm not sure what to name that right now. It's not a great name for this, but I just need something to test it out. And we're going to put it in here. And then let's map over that and see if that makes a difference. It may or may not. It definitely makes it look cleaner though, so it's worth a shot. Alright, still or can't read property map. Alright, so let's console log a few things in here above our map. Let's console log, this is array val, and we'll see what value we're getting here. I need a plus sign. There we go. Let's see what value we're getting there. And then let's see what value we would get from this. Okay, now we'll run through Michael Creel. So since you've made a new branch, hard code the array dimensions to clean up about 40 rows. Yeah. Let's see. I definitely could. 5, 3, 3, 3. All right. So here's what we got. Ooh, okay. Array value -1 and seat combo undefined. All right. That's definitely a problem. So let's see what we have. Potential seat combinations. Index of Manhattan totals array. All right, let's see. What our potential seat combinations are. All right. Of course. Okay. This needs to be. Alright, I think I've messed something up here. I need to just walk through this out loud. Okay. So I'm getting all the potential seat combinations, and I'm mapping over each of them. Each of those is itself an array, so I'm mapping over that. So for each one of these, I'm taking the Manhattan total, which starts at 0, plus the distance. So that's our optimum seat, which this value should be an array. It's a row and a column. And then, so this should give us a number, and it just keeps getting added. And so each one of these Manhattan totals array, Manhattan totals array. Okay. So now we have the Manhattan totals array, which should contain just all the values that we're getting here. Manhattan total. So this would be for each set. This is for each seat. So for each set of seats, and that corresponds to these objects, there's going to be a corresponding place in the Manhattan totals array that's going to say what's the total score of that combo of seats. So we have potential seat combinations, index of. This is where I'm like, what? Why do we have this? So potential seat combos is this object, and now we're looking for the index of Manhattan totals array. Alright, so let me look up. Michael says, I haven't thought about this, but isn't this close to the result of the tic-tac-toe game? Yeah, I thought that at first, and I was checking out some like tic-tac-toe game, like JavaScript videos. It wasn't, when I first checked it out, I didn't think it was like close enough that I could use a lot of it, but maybe after working through this, I need to take another look and see if there's something I could use. So I suppose with the math min, I'm trying to find. So I'm trying to find the lowest number. Okay, good. So whatever has the lowest score, that is the one that I want. And then I want the index. So whatever the value of this is would match up with the array. So I'm trying to find that value. So what I should get back then from all of this, so the array value should be this one of these objects. So what should get passed is not undefined, it should be an object. For some reason the array value I'm getting is -1. So that's no good. This also looks like a lot of objects that fit. Okay. It's like -1 should not be an option. So the only way we're getting -1 is if this index is not returning anything, which I think I'm using it wrong. I'm using this wrong. Alright, so I think what I'm doing is I'm trying to get the index of this potential seat combinations, which what I should do is put in like the value, and it's supposed to give me the index of something here, and that's not what I need to do here. So let's make another const. It just makes it easier to think about when we break it up into all these. Let's go min array value. So our min array value is going to be this. And why am I having it like this? I should be able to just do it like this, right? And then we could do index of min array value, which should be min array, and it should be Manhattan totals array dot index of, and then we're going to pass in the min array value. And I mean, this also, I suppose, is assuming that we only have one array, which I don't think we can assume that. Maybe there's a tie between two sets of seats. So I wonder what happens then. Well, I guess we'll find out. Index of min array value, and then when we have potential seat combinations, then what we want to find is the index of min array value. Now when we go here, the potential seat combinations array value dot map. So now what we want here is not this dot map. What we want here is array val dot map. And we can get rid of this console log. We can get rid of this console log. I'm more worried about this one. Alright, let's test this out, see what's going on. Oh, there's a few things in the live chat. Let's see. Michael says you definitely need to take a break. Yeah. Thank you everyone for letting me know about the -1 with the index of meaning -1 meaning it's not found. John says, would you have more logic to work with if you return actual objects with the row and column values instead of 0? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. That was my idea. I kind of didn't think I'd be able to fix what's going on here, but I don't know. After I looked at it again, I had some ideas, so now I'm trying to see if this will work. Still getting an undefined for that array value. All right, let's break this up then. So let's see. We need console log min. Oops. Let's figure out what that is, and then let's figure out what this one is. Okay. Okay. All right, so our min array value is not a number. All right, so let's see what we're doing that's messing this up. Math min Manhattan totals array. Let's console log Manhattan totals array. This is so much console logging. Okay, so our array is 0, 0, 0. I see. So that's a problem. Can you please post the question? Let's see. All right, here's the link. I should actually keep that up on my screen. All right, so we're not getting the values that we want for our array for a Manhattan total here. So Manhattan totals array equals Manhattan totals array plus the Manhattan total. So we are Manhattan total equals Manhattan total plus this distance. No wonder I was getting 0 every time. Wow, okay. Of course, so I was never actually adding anything on to the Manhattan total, so that makes sense now. All right, let's run this again and see what happens. All right, okay, cool. So now at least we have some values here. So what should happen then is whatever part of the array has the value of 6, that should be the set of seats that we reserve. So now that min array val, let's see where that's at. Min array val. Okay, so we should get should definitely not be getting not a number there, because we obviously have, wait, do we have an array? Yeah, this should definitely be, we should be adding items to an array, right? Manhattan totals array. But it's not. We're not getting an array, are we? So that's why it's saying not a number, because it's a string. Spread out Manhattan total array in the math min. Like that. Maybe that's why I initially had that in there. Oh yeah, you're right. So I do have to do it like that. So that was my fault. I took this out because I thought it was a mistake that it was in there, but it turns out that that was actually necessary. So, and I just checked the documentation on my other screen. This was the same documentation I had up on Saturday when I put that in. So I should not have taken that out. Nikki, thank you for catching that. That probably would have taken me forever to find that on my own. Alright, now let me make sure I save that. So let's see. Where are we at? Count array. Okay, so the min array value is 6. The index is 0. The array value now becomes these 3 objects. And so now, what did we have? How many seats? We started with 25, then we went down to 24 seats, 23, 22, 21 seats open. That's right? That works. So we've reserved 4 seats. Here's our array. So it found out that the best seats, the best 3 seats were these 3. Okay, well that works exactly as I thought it would work. The problem is, those aren't really the best seats, are they? The best seats would be if the, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the best seat. So the best 3 seats should be this one, and this one. So everything works now, but my logic is off. So I need to adjust. I think I'm exiting too early from each row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's right. Yeah. So I only have 5 values. So I'm only getting. So for instance, 1, 2, 3. It finds 3 in a row and it skips to the next row. It does the first 3, first 3, first 3. So it's not taking into account. Realistically, the combinations of 3 in the first row should be 1, 2, 3. There are 3 combinations of 3 in every row that's empty. So there should be a lot more values here. Alright, let's... Oh, cool. Nikki says we can JSON stringify the objects to get to see what they are. That's a great idea. Array value. So it should. Where is it at? I can't find it. Array value. Oh, here we are. Okay, cool. So the next time we run this, we will get it. Alright, so let's take a look at where we get our 3 seats in a row and see what we can do to make this better. So I know here we are. So here's where we're looping over it. We're getting these seats. So as soon as the count equals number of seats, we're adding this. Now what should happen, alright, so we're within this loop. Okay, so count equals 1. Say seat numbers. If the count equals the number of seats, then we do that. Okay, that's fine, but it should keep on going. If j plus 1 is like j plus 1. Let me see. Michael says you're returning the index of the sorted min array and passing it to the row. Index will always be 0. You need to find the index of the min array in the row. Okay, let me see what I'm doing here. Alright, let me read this again, Michael, so I can understand what's going on here. So right now I'm returning the index of the sorted min array and passing it to the row. The index will always be 0. You need to find the index of the min array in the row. Okay. Alright, so we did get the index of 0. The only thing is I didn't sort the min array. The index of the sorted min array. So it should be we should be getting. So each one of these objects should already have the seat numbers, should range from lowest to highest, but haven't shown where the low value is. Like I say, you sorted the row values from lowest to highest, but haven't shown where the low value is. I didn't think I was sorting them though. Am I sorting them anywhere? I mean, they'll naturally be lowest to highest for the most part because anything in row 1 is always going to be better. So the front rows will always be better. I do want to see what these objects are, because we'll actually see what some of these seats. Manhattan. So Manhattan total is sorting. Okay. So let Manhattan total equals 0. So Manhattan total equals Manhattan total plus distance, and then Manhattan total. See, I don't. Map. So all Manhattan total is doing is just taking one of these objects, or the set of these objects, and then just adding up the values. So whatever order these come in, that's the same order that they end up in. That's why I was saying I was able to take the index and match it up. So it did happen to be 0, but that makes sense because it should have been 6. Let me see. I want to see what values we do get for this. We could get Alright, let me check. So we still do have a problem here with this array, though. 2, 3, 4, 5. We definitely should have more than 5 values. And let's see. I do want to see what the potential seed combinations are. So let's... Alright, so let's compare which seat combos we're getting. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted index. Oops. There we go. This is what I wanted. So I want to be able to compare, like, how many seat combos are we actually getting versus what's coming up in this array. Okay. Whoa. Okay. All right. Wow. Let's move this up. This is a lot. All right. So I'm gonna count our opening brackets here. So we have 1, and this does correspond with what we have here. Oh. The second one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3. Okay, we do have a problem with the logic in there. So you can see we're getting, we should only have 3 seats together in any one array. And this one we have a lot more than 3, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 in a row. So not only do we have way too many, but we also have seats on 2 different rows. Okay. Yeah, so this is... That's why we're seeing such huge numbers here. Wow. Okay. Alright, well that was useful. So we need to rethink what's going on in this area right here. Just going to get this out of the way for a second. As soon as I hit save, it's going to reformat that. but just help me focus. Let me check. My phone just buzzed a lot. I'm just gonna check. I got a call from a number I don't know. Okay. I got a message on Slack from my boss. Okay, I gotta share that ngrok link with my boss, and so let me do that now. I'm glad I checked, because he's currently, I think, well, the meeting's about to start. I don't think it's started yet, so he needed that link. Okay. Oh, wrong project. Okay. Alright, now I'm ready to go back to this. So here's our problem. This is not giving us the answer that we want. It's working the first time through, and then that's it. So all of this is inside a loop that is looping through each row. This should run. This runs one time for each seat in that row. So we have arrays within arrays. So it looks like this. So here's the array, and then the arrays inside are each row, and then the items in each row are the seats. So this one is actually looping over the items in each row. So if that item has a value of 0, then we increase the count by 1. So far, so good. When we save this seat to the numbers array, this is it. This is where we could benefit. Okay, we need to do this differently. I think we can combine some ideas here. So we need so instead of waiting to get the Manhattan distance till later on, what if we check the Manhattan distance of every seat right off the bat, and then each seat would have a number, and then at that point this would simply be trying to find a combination of 3 seats that gives us the lowest value. Let's see. I'm going to look up on my other screen how to find, let's see, JavaScript. Find the okay, so I didn't get anything for JavaScript, but I did get something for PHP. So let's take a look at this. Maybe we'll be able to convert this to JavaScript. So the question is, how can I how can I find how often the sum of 3 consecutive values in a set equal a certain value? Not exactly what we want, but it's pretty close. So let's just verify that that's what we want. So equals 7, 1. Actually, this is really close to what we want. So this person wants to go through each set of 3 and see if it adds up to a certain number. So that's pretty much what we're trying to do as well. So let's see. Michael says, come on, I haven't worked in PHP in years. I know, I'm not great with PHP either, but I'm just thinking like, okay, maybe we can look at how they're doing this and use some of it to help with our JavaScript, which I can see this, but this method of doing it is like, I guess we could do it like this. All right, Niki's asking, what exactly do you want? Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. We have basically here, we take each seat, right? So we make new arrays, and instead of 0s and 1s for each seat, we go through and we give each seat. I need to make an object. Like really, what I was thinking about doing here now makes a lot more sense. Yeah, this makes, okay. All right, let's do it like this. So I think we can, basically we can keep both. There's a use for both of them. I could see how this is useful, but also I think we need some objects as well. So we can, I think we can do this at this point. Let's make a new function to make an object. How about that? So here's our const. Const. Create seed data. All right, that's good enough. We're going to pass in the array, and in this function is where we're going to actually do the Manhattan thing, right? Aniki says, okay, Michael said the link I shared is 404. Try copying it and putting it in the browser instead of clicking it, because there's weird stuff happens. So like the actual link that is coming up is really different. Like if you hover over it and see what comes up, because YouTube like messes up this stuff. All right, if you Google it, it works. 2-dimensional array of seat objects. We'll have all the information. And actually, my boss just said thanks for that link. I kind of feel like a hero today because I did a really good job at my presentation, and then we had some other like emergency website thing, and I don't really think I should share any details, but it was like it was a pretty big deal for the people involved, and I was able to get it done in a few minutes, which was cool because when I first heard the problem, I'm like, I have no idea what to do, but I ended up fixing it really quickly, which made one of my bosses really happy. So that was awesome. Okay. Okay, Niki's saying a two-dimensional array of seat objects. Okay, we could do that. Well, let's try this now. So seat data, create seat data. So we'll do so we're passing in the array. We need to loop over the array. So let's do array. Oh shoot! I need the seat data to be available. So let's do const seat data. It's just going to equal an array for now, an empty array. Then we're going to do array dot map. So each time we wrap, this is going to be a row, right? And I'm also going to want the index. So let's get the index. Let's just type out index. So we get the index here, and then within here, we're going to take seat data, row index. We're going to do row dot map, and we're going to map, for this one we're going to do, it's going to be seat and then let's just do seat index so that we're not confusing the two. Or let's get a seat number. Will that work? And then here we can do seat data equals seat data, and here we're going to make row. This is where we're going to put this. So it's going to be, so first we're going to say row 1 column. The row will be index, and the column will be seat number, reserved false. And then here's where the rank's going to come in. The rank is going to be this distance formula. Yeah, okay, so the distance, we're going to have to know the distance formula, right? So we should probably pass in, with the array, we'll pass in the optimum seat. So here we're going to have, can we do this? Let's just do this out here. So we'll go const score equals distance optimum seat, and then we're gonna have index and seat num. There we go. And so then down here we can put score, right? It's just not like that. Is it like that better? Maybe. There we go. All right, let me let me see what's going on in the live chat here. Michael says, that's one thing about being able to do stuff online. You look like a magician to those who don't understand the technology. Nikki says, sadly, that often means they think it was really simple when you solve their problem quickly. Yeah. Michael says, but they'll keep you around forever as long as you keep showing them the tricks. Just don't show them how they're done. All right, Michael says, stop overthinking it. Take it a step at a time. Okay. Oh, seat data is a constant, so it's not going to let me do this. Okay. Let's change it to let. Okay. Let's save that. So now we just need to make sure. Okay, so we pass in the optimum seat. We have the array. All right, so now at this point, we should have access to everything that we need when we're in the find seats, right? Because we found optimum seat here. We've already passed in the array. So let's go down here. This was where we were having the issue anyway. So let's say create seat data, and we're going to pass in array, and we're going to pass in optimum seat. Okay, so create seat data, and let's see. Actually, do we need that? Okay. Let's work for now. All right, Nikki says the second spread operator is not needed. I didn't think it was, but it was giving me an error. Let me take it out and see. Maybe it was just formatting. See, it's giving me this weird stuff. It's giving me a parsing error. I mean, should I just leave it in? Is that gonna like... I guess I'll leave it in for now and see what happens. I mean, I don't think that it's supposed to be like that. Okay, so Michael's saying, what does the reserve seat, what is it done? What is the reserve seat function done? Reserve seat... Reserve seat changes the zeros to ones. It also checks to see if that seat's already taken, and then it console logs the seats is not available, and it returns an updated array. So I'm also gonna have to change this so that reserve seat could I guess it needs to be able to change the value in the object as well. Actually, hold on, my wife's calling. Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
Okay. I'm just working on my interview puzzle thing.
Okay, I would let you know that I can do it tomorrow because I have to judge the science fair at 8:30 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you needed to work on it in the morning or going late, that's fine.
Okay. All right, cool. Thanks. Love you too. All right. Okay. Michael said, "No, don't stay on task." Yeah, actually, I'm not really. I think my wife just wanted to talk to me because she just called to tell me that she's going to take the kids to school in the morning because she has to go do something at their school anyway. Yeah, so I'm not sure about that. Okay. I did get off track of what I'm doing. Okay, so Nikki says, I think I found why I was complaining for that second spread operator. You spread seat data and then the seat object inside an object. It should be an array. Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense. Where am I at? So seat, yeah, you're right. Seat data is an array. It's not an object. Good catch. All right, awesome. Once again, you are saving me from lots of troubleshooting. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Okay, so this is doing what I wanted to do. We're going to have to refactor more of these functions to be able to update data in here, but for now, I want to keep going with this. Well, number one, just to see the object and see if it actually did what I wanted it to do. I think that's the first step before I try to integrate this, more closely into the existing program. So let's see where I called it. Create seat data. Yeah, so first things first, let's just see console log. Seat data. And this is, probably need to do like we did down here. Right. Let's do this. All right. I should have took out the other console logs. Okay, here's what we want to see. Alright, wow, cool. I guess I should have realized it would have been really big. I just didn't think about it. Okay. Wow, we can't even get to the top. Alright, so yeah, we're getting the data. We have the rows, column, and this looks like, yeah, this is working. And we're getting a rank, which is really cool. So row 1, column 2 has a rank of 2. Row 1, column 3, which should be the lowest rank seat, has a rank of 1, which is great. This should be 2. Row 2, wait a second, 0, 1. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, 2. Since we're 0 index, number 2 should be the best, right? We're messing up our optimum seat. Yeah, we're messing it up. So I think it's setting the optimum seat 1 over from the very middle. Let's see where I'm setting the optimum seat at. Let's see if I can figure out the problem. I think it's probably in my rounding. Math round. Let's test this out. So what do we have? So 5. So array dot length. It should give us 5. Array 1. Why do I have array 1? It should be array 0. Anyway, so it should give us 5, so it would be 2.5. Let's see what it gives us. It gives us 3. Oh, I see why. Alright, does that make sense? 0, 1. Alright, so we'll need to change this. So it's going to be a math round, but since we're 0 indexing, we need to subtract 1. Right? Oops. Right, so this would give us, so in a row that has 5, this gives us 2.5 for this value, minus 1 is 1.5, so 0, 1. No, that's not right either. Oh, okay, this gives us 3 as the value. Right, yeah, this would give us 3, minus 1 is 2, so you have 0, 1, 2, so that's the third seat. Okay. Nikki says math round to math floor. 0.5 rounds up and 0.49 round down, creating inconsistent scores. So you think we should always do floor? And that would give us, yeah, actually in this case that would give us the right one. You're right, I don't even need to subtract one. Floor is what we need. Alright. That was a good thought, Nikki. That's a lot more simple. Okay. In case anyone was interested, in your terminal, if you have Node installed, if you just type Node, essentially you have a console like you'd have in DevTools, where you can use JavaScript in here. So if you're in the terminal, you don't, like in this case, we don't, this isn't connected to a website. This is just Node. So I don't have DevTools open. I'm sure I probably have DevTools open 20 times on my other screens, but like for this project, I don't have DevTools open for this project. So if I want to just quickly test something in the console, you can just type Node and test it in there. So it might save you a little bit of time. Certainly if you're only working on one screen, it's definitely helpful to be able to do it all right here. Let me check in the live chat. Oh, Abhishek says, "Hey Jesse, thanks for such videos." Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, hopefully it's useful. Thanks for watching. This video has been like very slowly troubleshooting. Yeah, so let's. Alright, let's test this out now. Let me remove, or at least comment out, a lot of these console logs first. There we go. Why am I getting weird stuff here? There we go. Alright, let's see the difference that's made here now. Whoa, that's why I'm getting it. Syntax error 187. Oh, I guess it didn't. There we go. Okay, that's the right thing. Alright, we're good now. Alright, cool. So let me scroll up. Okay, so row 1, column 3, rank 2, row 1, column 4. Alright, yeah, let's try row. So 2 0 2 1 is 3, 2 2 is 2. Alright, this looks better. So the middle seat in any row is going to be the best seat in that particular row. Alright, so now we are getting the correct value. Okay, cool. I've never tried to run this again. Let's see what happens when I try to run this again. Not enough open seats in row 1. Interesting. So it actually did exit. I think that's because, what are we doing? We're returning. I think I need to get rid of all these return false statements here. Right? I need to figure out some other way to do it because I'm returning false and it's just stopping. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let's see. Abhishek says, have you ever considered using ESLint? I actually am using ESLint, so that's why I'm getting all these error messages. So it does auto format a lot, but sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't auto format everything, so I just get the error and have to correct things. Okay, let's see. Alright, what was my next? Do you think what my next step was supposed to be? Okay, we're going to integrate this new data that we have into this, because this was definitely giving us the wrong info. Okay, so at this point, we may actually want to do what we were seeing in this PHP, so we can iterate. Yeah, we can iterate over all the values, the scores, right, the distance scores, and see what they add up to. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be a little tricky. Okay. I wonder if it would be valuable to make keys. So these wouldn't just be objects, there would be a key for each object. Alright, maybe. For now, I don't know that we need it. Okay. Okay, let me move this over to the other screen so I can see it, see what they're doing. Okay, so we need All right. I'm reading this PHP answer on my other screen more closely, and these answers are hard coding a lot of stuff. So it's like the answers only work for 3, and we need a variable number. Okay, but we can still use some of this. I think I'm getting to a point where I'm getting stuck. I don't know if it's just that I'm tired or maybe my brain needs a break. I mean, we've worked through a lot of bugs. So I'm happy about the progress. We're just still not there yet. Abhishek says, I streamed some Mern coding. So if you're not familiar with Mern, it's MERN. It's Mongo, Express, React, and Node. Correct me if I'm wrong. So those are the technology you're using. Mongo for the database, Express, it works with Node for the back end. Or no, it's Mern Stack, Mongo, Express, React, and Nginx. I think that's what it is, right? Mongo for the database, Express as in like using Node and Express, React, and then Nginx. Anyway, Abhishek says, I streamed some Mern coding experiences to my channel after watching your React live coding. I had reference material. I tried doing them without it. I had to redo the video twice. It's hard to do the videos. I really prefer live to recorded videos because when you're live, mistakes, I guess, it's more reasonable you're going to have mistakes and work through them. But when you record a video, I think it's expected that you won't have as many mistakes. So I find it harder. Like I usually end up recording videos more than once when I do a recording. So I totally understand that. I think that's pretty normal. I think most, like even the professional video people that we have here in my department, they do multiple takes usually of everything, and choose the best one. Let's see. Nikki says, seeing the mistakes in coding videos is awesome. All the videos out there are perfect. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I wanted to do with these streams, is just show all the mistakes. I think I show more mistakes than I thought I would. Because we end up having a lot of mistakes, but I think there is value in that. All right, cool. Actually, Abhishek says coffee. I'm out. There's no more coffee. All right. Let me at least, before I entirely lose my train of thought, let me leave a little comment here, and I'll leave a little to do so it stands out from the other comments. Okay. And this is going to be use the data seats data orders to find sets. Okay, So I guess that's about what I wanted to do. Why is... I guess I do have a trailing space. Oh well. That's what I was thinking about doing here. And then I wasn't thinking too far ahead. Every time I thought farther ahead, I thought, okay, we're going to do... There's going to be a lot more refactoring. So I just want to refactor just this section first. Then I'd have to move on and redo a little bit of what's going on down here, I think. The end goal then would be able to get an accurate... Basically, like right now, we're only getting one set of seats per row. I need to get every single set possible. So that is the goal. One issue is going to be, how do I keep up the data between the original array, that's ones and zeros, and then our objects that have a true false value for whether they're taken. I need to keep the data the same. Is it even a good idea to have two different places and keep it the same? Should I just try to make everything run from the object? If that's the case, I might need even more refactoring. Alright, so let's see. Michael says, still not sure what's going on with the loop that consoles out delete count. Oh, okay. The delete count, this is... So the count just loops through like however many consecutive seats that we have. So if it hits a seat that's already taken, then that breaks the block, so it's not consecutive anymore. So the idea with the delete count is, all right, reset the counter back to 0, because when you move on to the next seat, you got to start back over again because they're no longer consecutive. Or if I've hit the end of a row, I need to restart the counter again because we're not counting seats between rows, right? So only seats that are consecutive within one row count. So that's what I was doing here. So that's probably part of the issue is, yeah, part of the issue, our whole loop is messed up, right? So we'll loop through like seat 1, seat 2, seat 3. I mean, obviously it's 0 index, but seat 1, seat 2, seat 3, and we'll say, hey, all right, we got 3. Well, then now we just move on to 4. So if we needed another set of 3, it'd be 4, 5, 6. When really it should be 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. Should be like going back, you know, over and over. Alright, Michael says, but it only consoles once. Yeah, that is weird. It shouldn't just be doing once. Trying to see if it actually... No, we shouldn't have any over top of that. Yeah, that's weird. Why would it only go once? You know what? It only runs once. So this is saying if it's not the end of the row, and the seats taken. So yeah, so it actually doesn't, it won't ever run unless it's both not the end of the row and the seats taken. And in each case, we've only had one seat taken. So that's why it only runs once, because we start out with no seats, we add one seat reserved, so it only hits one reserved seat. And this is for, whoops. Yeah, so we didn't see the, I can't go up far enough to see it, but yeah, that's why it only runs once. Alright, Michael says, but I thought you've been reserving 3 seats. Yeah, so this runs, so initially I reserve 1 seat, and then I say I want 3 seats, and then this runs and tries to find those 3 seats. So none of those seats actually get reserved until down here, and this is outside, so down here is outside of our loop for rows. So that's why it's basically, it's not picking up that like we've just registered a seat. So this is running for each row, but there's only 1 seat saved in 1 row. So it just picks up that 1 seat and resets the count to 0, console logs delete count. Once all of this runs through every row and every seat, then it reserves those 3 seats. So in terms of when this is actually checking, there is only 1 seat reserved. And it never gets run again after we reserve the rest of the seats. Wonder. Alright, so yeah, so here's our 1 seat reserve. Now I'm going to try to get 3 seats in a row. Okay. Now I'm going to try to get 3 seats again. So if this is working properly, we should see the delete count now more than once. So we try to get 3 more seats. Okay, interesting. So here's where I was saying before, I need to not have this return false, because right now, so like every time it runs through seats in a row. Yeah, actually that's pretty crazy. I plus 1. Filter item. Oh, I see why. I think let number There's not enough seats. We need to not have this be returned false. But instead it needs to be else. So this needs to all be in this else. And we can take this too. Okay. And this actually shouldn't stop here. I should have sorry the rows are not long enough to accommodate that request. Yeah, I don't want to return false there either. I want to do an else if. Whoops, I don't need that one. Actually, this should just work, right? Else if. There we go. Okay. So let's see. We could change this to an else if too. Abhishek says, do you prefer to write all the logic in one big node file or model them into different files? When I'm first starting out, I just like to do it in one file. If it starts to get too big, then I would rather break it out into different files. So it just depends on the size. And I don't have like a rule of like how many lines. It's just like when it starts to feel too big to get around in the file, then it makes more sense. Like, because it takes a little bit more time to navigate files. So if I get to the point where I think I'll save time by switching a file because it's taking me too long to scroll up and down, then that's kind of the point for me to switch. Alright, console. Yeah, let's get rid of that and let's make this an else. Alright, let me try to run this. Basically, the whole point of that was I didn't want the program to exit like that. I wanted to, get a response and then get another shot at entering something in. Whoa, alright, I messed something up. Optimum seat is not defined. Alright, let's see what I did. Optimum seats. Interesting. Skip to next row. Why am I getting all of this and it's saying optimum seat is not defined? Where else am I using optimum seat? Down here. Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Let's move this up then. Okay, cool. So now let's try this again. Ask for 2 more seats. Okay. So that actually did work, and we were able to get more seats. I need to get rid of that console log though up here, because that's just too much and I can't see everything. But then we're still running into max listeners exceeded warning. Alright, so let's get out of here and let's try again. So this is what I don't like here. See, I'm seeing this too much still. I just need to look that up and see why that's happening. Okay, but we did get rid of it, you know, exiting out at various places where it should not have. And now we're getting like the proper, so like not enough seats in row 1, not enough in row 2, not enough in row 3, and then we, I suppose, get to a point where it does actually save our seats. Open seats, 12, okay. Yeah. Okay. You know what, maybe because it's constantly running this again when it shouldn't, that's maybe causing a lot of this. Let's get rid of that. So where am I saying this? How many seats would you like? What? How are there no results for that? Okay. There we go. Just had a space at the front. So this is questions 3. Alright, so where am I running questions 3 at? Oh, down here. Okay, so seats remaining. Alright, so seats remaining keeps running all the time, and it really should not be running. Okay. So let's not run seats remaining all the time. So where are we running seats remaining? In reserve seat, we're running seats remaining, so that's what's running it the most, I think. And we're running it no matter what. So let's stop that. I do want to run that and let people know. But just not right now. I gotta rethink how I do that. So let's see if that fixes our event listeners problem. Whoa. Let's see, would you like to reserve in this row? Hold on a second. I had messed that up. Okay. So I did not want to do that. What I wanted to do was basically make 2 different reservation functions. So one needs to run actually, let's move this out. Acquire prompts, then answers 3. Okay. This needs to run at the end. So after it does all this, then this needs to run. Alright, let's try it now. Dang it. You know what? That needs to run. Alright. I need to work on alright, yeah. So I need to have 2 different functions for reserving seats. One is going to be if you just want to reserve 1 seat, and the other one's going to be if you're going to reserve multiple seats. So where's our reserve seat function? Let's just reserve seats. And then let's copy and paste that, and this is going to be reserve seats. And for reserve seats, for this one, we are going to say we're going to have the seats remaining, but not for this one. So let's go reserve seats. So then down here, we're going to call where's it at? Reserve seats. There we go. Okay. So this is cool, but I think what's happening though is the updated array is not getting passed in here again. So when we call find seats, I think our array is not getting updated. So that's why I keep saying that seat is not available. So this function thinks that seat is available, but then when it tries to run this function, then it realizes somewhere along the line that it's not available. Where is this? It's an array. Yeah, I think like this new array, shoot. Actually, I'm not sure what's going on. New array, row, column 1 equals new array. Alright, let me check the live chat again. Let's see. Also, number of seats, SB is less than or equal to columns. Alright. I think that I'm going to wrap this stream up because I'm really hungry. Ooh, I've been streaming for a long time. Yeah, I'm hungry and I worked a lot yesterday and I was working early today, so I can go home. So I think I'm going to do that. I'll probably work on this more later today and I'll be working on it tomorrow. I'm going to have to check my work schedule and see. Tomorrow might not be a bad day to maybe come in later or even take a day. I don't know. I have a lot of vacation days, so maybe I could do that and work on this. So yeah, because this needs to be done either today or tomorrow. Alright, cool. So yeah, I'm going to wrap things up now. This code, let me put this all on GitHub in case you're interested. I'll do it right now so I don't forget. Of course, I only have the index file. Why did I even do that? Wow. Okay, so remember we did all this on the alt branch. So if you want to check this code, make sure you switch to the alt branch. So, alright, John says, let your brains rest, Jesse. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been doing 2 hours, we're at 2 hours and 35 minutes. That's a really long time to code just straight without any break. So, yeah, that probably wasn't the best idea to do. I mean, usually I try to take breaks every 25 minutes. Alright, well, it was nice hanging out with you all for a long time today. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the help and advice. And I'll probably see y'all tomorrow. Might be working on this again tomorrow. We'll see. But until then, have a great day.